Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
We're back. We're back. I felt like a rooster. We're back.
We're always back.
No, we're not always. I mean, we're always back, but we've been gone for 3 or 4 weeks. I've got a sneeze already.
That's what it always.
This is.
It's always 3 or 4 weeks.
We're out of practice. No, it's not. We were going like almost every week there
for like 2
during
weeks.
The Handmaid's Tale.
All right.
But it depends on what we have going on. If we got something to watch that we're following, we'll be here a lot more often. And if we don't, then we will be here less often. What are you going to do? But this time around,
we're back.
Life got busy. I think we talked about it before we signed off last time that we knew we were going to be gone for at least a couple weeks because of family coming into town.
Yes.
My son had his bar mitzvah.
Uh-huh.
L'chaim. That's what I got.
Yeah,
shalom.
I was going to try and... I was like trying to think of a word. Nothing. Tradition.
Yep. There you go. So that was fun.
Yes, that was fun. It was fun.
You got like a 100-yard stare as you say that. I don't know if I was thinking about this earlier today. I don't know if any of my family listens to this show. I don't think so. Mm-hmm. And back in the early days of the Kid Free Weekend.
I can't believe that
What?
We were doing Kid Free Weekend at this moment and what you're about to talk about.
What, the bat mitzvah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wasn't even going to talk about that specifically, but I was going to say that in the early days of the Kid Free Weekend podcast, we did do an episode where we talked and kind of had a fight about my daughter's bat mitzvah. I know that one of my nephews was listening. Because he wrote a review on iTunes and was really nice about it, and, which was super cool. But now, so I just saw him for the first time in a few years
yeah.
at least.
He's in college.
And he's in college now, which is cool. But we started podcasting 6 years ago, so he was like a teenager.
Mm-hmm. We might have heavily influenced him and his future decisions.
I hope so.
We might have.
I mean, we did have we came out for Bernie moment
right
before the 2016 election.
Issues.
We do talk about some issues, but then we also talked about you getting your butthole waxed and how you wanted to wax mine.
Was he listening to that one?
Well, probably. That was like episode 3 or 4.
We're such an embarrassment to ourselves.
So, Joshua, if you're still listening now, cool.
I mean, we're adults. We're all adults.
He's an adult now. He's 21 and everything.
I don't do that anymore.
Womp womp.
You know what? I think about it a lot, and it's just so humiliating.
Me too. Oh.
It's nice because it's clean and all of that, but it's just so humiliating, the action of doing it. It's just so humiliating. So much so that I try to do it myself, and it doesn't always, never does it work out well.
I'm gonna give a sort of a random sounding shout out here. A couple months ago, whatever that was, we had Eddie Pence on the show. Mm-hmm. He's a stand-up comedian, also the co-host of the Ralph Report. The Ralph Report has this large fan base. They're fans of Ralph Garman, and they call themselves the Garmy. And there's 2 members of the Garmy, Aaron and Bridget, that just started a podcast that they call Bi-Coastal Biatches. One's in New York, one's in Washington, I think.
Cool.
Anyway. And it's just, it's not a focus show. They talk about whatever's on their minds, what's going on in their life. And a lot of it is about men and dating and all that stuff. And they both vouch for the waxing from, it just feels nice and clean and smooth and they like how it feels. Neither one of them has said anything about it being embarrassing.
Well, we should talk to them.
Maybe we should.
Because let me tell you, you're either in a position like you're getting your diaper changed. Or like
we'll both get back to that someday, I'm sure.
Or you're splayed out like you're some kind of frog.
Wait.
Yeah, like
a frog stance?
Wait a second.
We're like,
hang on.
Oh, this is good on a podcast.
I'm laying down.
Wait, so you put your feet together and your ankles go out?
Yeah, so your legs are like...
Why would your feet be together?
I don't know.
That's what they tell you to do?
That's what they tell you to do.
Okay. Interesting.
Or
it's too bad you had
could
pants
be on your
right
hands
now.
and knees.
Oh. Wow. Have you ever, but could be, so you haven't actually done that?
I feel like I experienced it once, or maybe it was just a nightmare, but I think I definitely have had 2, and I think I've had all 3 ways. Waxes.
All 3 ways, huh? Jennifer,
Yes.
all 3 ways.
Oh, that's great.
Uh-huh.
That's what I always aspired to be.
So my family came into town. And there was a bar mitzvah. It went pretty well overall, I thought. And so then people were visiting for a few days after that. My cousin, who I've really not seen in years and really have not had any sort of meaningful, like, extended contact with maybe ever since we were like babies.
Yeah.
He stuck around for like an extra week, I think, maybe a little bit more than a week after the bar mitzvah. And so I took him around a lot to different places he wanted to go, mostly shopping related, a couple sites. We went up to Los Angeles one day to meet a fascinating individual named Tangerine Thomas. Mm-hmm. Apparently she's, fairly well-known actress.
She has her own masks.
She has her own masks that you can buy on her website. But yeah, during COVID, she started interacting with a fan base and built this community.
Neat.
And,
good for her.
And he participates in that community, and they wound up meeting, and I went along for the ride, and it was fascinating.
Mm-hmm. She's very generous.
She seems like a really cool person. Yes. And I mean, anyone that's she's acting on like 2 different sitcoms on streaming services. Who has time to like go out and meet fans, much less a desire once you are at that point in your career? Very few people would. So it's pretty cool.
Scary.
Well, that's why you meet in a public place.
Yeah. So you both went and met her, and
yeah, that was interesting.
You guys got pictures. It's on your Twitter. Mm-hmm. Do you have Instagram?
Me? Mm-hmm. Technically, yes.
But you don't use
there is
it.
a Pod of Thrones Instagram. You can look for it. I think I have a profile photo, and that might be it.
I am sorry I'm not more present, but it just doesn't appeal to me anymore. Like, I'll look at it every once in a while just to make sure I didn't miss any messages or something. It's all the same.
Twitter's gotten a lot less disgusting since Trump was banned and then subsequently, unelected.
Well, then there's the whole tracking.
So, it's, people are being nice to each other. Well,
like,
fine. Yeah, social media.
I'm feeling like it's just become so ridiculously invasive that I can't handle it.
You sent me something about that I'll come back to, but now the consequence of having a bunch of family come into town.
Wait, were we talking about something that you were referring to Ralph Garman? Did we close that?
Oh, just the waxing part.
Because
we were talking about, it was a whole thing. That was a rambling conversation.
No, did they get, were white? Who was waxing? Oh, the girls.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say Eddie Pence had to do it or something.
No, although he did just get a vasectomy, so I'd like to have him back on the show to talk about that, because I've always said one of these days I'm going to talk about my balls.
Experiences.
Yeah. So I have that in mind. I got to reach out to him again. Anyway, the consequence of having all that family come into town, and I'm thinking back, when I was thinking back upon it, a year and a half of COVID. And going out in public and wearing a mask because you didn't want to get this disease that could kill you, this virus that could kill you. And in that time, not only did we not get COVID, we didn't get anything else.
Right. Not until COVID mandate lifted.
One day of having like 15 visitors from out of town that had flown in, and a nasty cold sweeps through our house.
Yeah, really bad.
I'm still like, I'm a little congested from it. Like I can, hitting my microphone. I can feel it right now, like in my nasal passages, but I'm mostly fine.
Yeah,
now,
I am too, Neil.
You took the initiative to get COVID tested and it came back negative. So it's really just a cold that swept through us, but it was bad.
Really bad.
Like we haven't had a cold in a long time.
A really long time. Like the kids might have had a cold here and there, but even they were reasonably well.
It brings me back to a thought that I've been thinking for a long time, maybe even saying it, but like I might wear a mask to go grocery shopping forever.
Yeah, but then you become like not immune. You have no immunity at all. Against the flu or the cold, the common cold, or whatever new thing comes along.
But the rhinovirus is constantly mutating, so there's really no way to become immune to it.
True.
You would have to kill it off.
I don't know. I just feel like that's
completely.
I feel like people are going to set themselves up to be in this sterile environment, and if they happen to come in contact with anything, they're going to get super sick.
The kind of mask I wear, I'm not talking an N95 mask. I'm just talking about like if someone sneezes nearby, I might not,
I just hold my breath.
Sick. The whole time you're in the grocery store?
No, anytime I walk by somebody, yes, I hold my breath. Anytime, of course, when they're sneezing or coughing, I'll either walk the other way or I'll hold my breath. I don't know. I don't know if it works or not, but I do that. I don't want to breathe in their air that they just spewed out.
Or sometimes people are smelly.
That came from inside their body. I don't want that inside my body.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I mean, gross.
I get it. I get it. But on the other hand, like you mock me sometimes for being a germaphobe and you're like, I don't want to breathe near that other person.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, we all have our
I feel like I can feel their germs in the air. Mm-hmm. I think I have a superpower that way. I'm just saying. It's my superpower. I can feel germs.
Now, we did hit one more little speed bump on getting back to the microphone. Just a minor one, kind of. Because this is the weekend we were supposed to record, finally. Last weekend was a kid-full weekend, but it was also San Diego Comic-Con 2021, which again was happening virtually, a Comic-Con at home. And since it was a kid-full weekend and half the house was sick, like we weren't going to be doing like an instant recording anything. They're all paneled on YouTube anyway. The motivation to like wait in line, get into a panel, and then excitedly report on it immediately afterwards. It's just not the same when it's on YouTube. Well, but also we were sick. And
we knew the content wasn't like there were no Hall H'ers.
I'll come back to the content. Ugh. But then this weekend, as we're recording this on a Sunday night, and hopefully I'll get it out Sunday night, but we'll see. As we're recording this, we were a little bit delayed this weekend on some of our stuff because all of a sudden, yes? Mm-hmm. You want to tell what happened?
All of a sudden, we have a new family member. So we've been thinking about getting another dog to keep Sophie company because sometimes Sophie chases the cat.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's playfully. Yeah. It seems playful.
Sophie, the dog. So we felt bad
for her because she's a lone dog. She has no dog. I don't know. Well, I always keep an eye on the stupid shelter sites. And I'm always looking at dogs. And I was like, you know what? I don't ever go there because I know that I'll end up coming home with a dog, but why not just do it? Let's go see some dogs because I was having a bad day and I needed a dog to like me or something. So I started going to shelters, and then we happened to be at a doctor's appointment that was right next to a shelter. So we went to that shelter, and that's where we originally got Sophie. And so we looked at some dogs, and now we have a dog. Another dog.
And by we, you mean...
us.
Well, I wasn't there.
Well, so it's still your dog.
Just saying.
Would you have voted against this dog?
It wouldn't have. Well, that's why I didn't go, because it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
In fact, if I wanted that dog desperately, we probably wouldn't have that dog. She could be like, well, that must be a bad dog.
Maybe.
But you came home all of a sudden with a dog.
Oh, so I didn't know that they would make you take it that day. Like, I was like, it'll be fine. We'll sign, if we see a dog we love, we'll sign adoption papers. Surely they have to put like some kind of week-long hold or something.
It's like a layaway plan.
Or I don't know, while they do some kind of background check or something. But no, they're like, you have to take this dog right now if you want it, because we have somebody coming at noon who might adopt him and we can't put any no holdsies. So the kids were in love, of course. He's calm, the calmest of the pack that we looked at, which were only two. One was kind of a nut, but she was beautiful, pit bull. She was super sweet. And then this dog, the other dogs were either had medical problems. One was a beautiful, 10-year-old Doberman, but he was on his way out, and Doberman Rescue's going to take him anyway. And then there were another dog that was beautiful, but she was 6 years old and hated cats or wanted to eat them. So that didn't work. And then, they saw the dog and shit. Now I have a dog. And he poops in the house.
Couple times.
Peed in the house, peed in the garage. It's because he's lived his whole life in shelters.
Right, which is incredibly sad.
On concrete.
Yeah. He only knows kennel life, apparently, which is depressing.
Yeah, he's super calm, except when
Very nice.
like every once in a while, he'll get this huge spike of energy and he'll like leap and jump and run around and then he'll stop and he's calm again.
Well, I think we'll see more energy out of him when we take him off leash.
Yeah, and
On
I
a more
think
regular
oh right,
basis.
and he's super good on a leash. Like he
Really good on
knows
a
that's I have to. This is it. This is my life now.
Right. It seems like if we take him off the leash, he'll find a spot in the house to pee almost immediately. So he's staying on leash for a while. Hopefully we'll get him relatively potty trained soon.
He's doing all right. Yeah. It's only the first day. And
Right. It's been a very long weekend, though.
Or 24 hours. Yeah.
Last night, my sleep, I didn't tell you this yet, but I told you I didn't sleep well last night because I was like paranoid that the dog, I really want to sneeze, because I was like paranoid that the dog was going to start peeing all over our bedroom or something. But the weirdest thing that was happening to me, just my anxiety building up about that, like we're going to have to figure out a way to move the bed. And it's so freaking heavy because we got this rug underneath it and the dog's going to soak the rug in urine. So like the anxiety building up in me. And it wasn't a dream or dreams. Like I was waking up, but like only halfway. Like I wasn't able to function and move or anything, but I was like awake and I would hear a noise that would wake me up. And then I was half awake and I could swear I smelled urine in the air.
Well, it was probably on the dog because we hadn't bathed him yet.
Maybe, but I was like
he
so
was
sure.
So smelly.
I was so sure that whenever you got out of bed, there was just going to be puddles of liquid everywhere.
No, he was really
and
good.
Amazingly, that was not the case. But it was a very weird sleep experience. Like I was like hallucinating.
I thought you were going to tell me that like some ghostly, demonic stick lady was hovering above you.
A ghost peed on me, maybe. Like that's always an option. You seem pretty sure that our house is haunted, but you always feel that way. Mm-hmm. To be fair, if ghosts are real, they're everywhere.
Right. Why wouldn't we be haunted? We have dead people in our paths. Pasts.
What?
Not paths. I said paths. Okay, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so now that we caught everybody up on where the hell we've been, we were here to talk about San Diego Comic-Con. I'm drunk. San Diego Comic-Con 2021, the Comic-Con at Home edition. If you recall our report from last year's Comic-Con and our report from the 2020, was it 2021? I think it was, early 2021 WonderCon. No Game of Thrones content.
Of course not. Game of Thrones is over.
Not a scrap of it.
Why do we have a podcast called Pot of Thrones when Game of Thrones is over?
Because rebranding is hard.
And Pot of Thrones is a great name. We don't want to give it up.
It is a good name. And Game of Thrones is coming back, damn it. Mm-hmm. I swear it is. But that's the thing. Again, like they're filming stuff. There's all these different shows in the pipeline. Once again, I just wish someone from HBO would do anything but ultimately it should have been us. We should have done a panel and
we should have. Maybe they'll do it again online next year.
I had the submission form to do a panel for Comic-Con 2021. And at the time I was like revving up to approach you about let's do a panel.
And I'm getting anxiety thinking about it.
Exactly. Well, and you were like, why are we even podcasting anymore? And I hadn't even talked about it yet. So I sort of let it slide. And then
I had heart palpitations.
Then the submission date expired. But we did a panel once and we rocked it.
I know, it was good.
It was very good.
It was good.
It was very good.
The anxiety.
And that was you on a stage. This would have just been a Zoom call, and we're probably not going to have that option again.
It was very stressful. But maybe I would be all right. I don't know. Since I did it once, maybe it won't be so hard.
You know what? I don't think this thing happening with me right now is because of the cold that passed through our house. I think it's because we haven't touched any of this recording equipment in a long time and it's dusty and I think it's triggering allergies. I'm very
would you like me to dust it?
Well, it's a little late for that now.
My allergies are super bad. Maybe you're allergic to the dog.
That would be awesome. Oh, so Sophie, the dog of Thrones, she has her little stepbrother now, except he's bigger than her. But as of right now, his name is Shorty.
Short Finn is the name he came with.
It's a terrible name.
He's cute.
We're going to have a family meeting and maybe rename him, but I've been calling him Shorty, and he's adorable. Maybe I'll put a picture in the show notes.
I'll take a picture of him sleeping right now.
Okay.
Okay. So what are we talking about?
Comic-Con and what there was or wasn't. Also in the show notes, you will find a link to YouTube. That link is to a playlist I made. And the playlist is everything I could find in Comic-Con that was in any way related to stuff that we sometimes talk about on this show. And it is 8 videos. That's all it is. I really don't, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like all the stuff that we watch, even big temp, like it's not just Game of Thrones. There's plenty of shows that are still in the works that are currently being made, and no one's talking about those either.
They talk about them, but there's just nothing to say. Well,
like we just finished talking about Handmaid's Tale. The Boys is coming out with a new season soon. The Witcher stuff. Well, they had their own WitcherCon, which I'm going to mention right now. But like, just the representation of stuff at Comic-Con, not great. So there was, however, a separate WitcherCon, which it took place. I think we talked about how it was about to happen on our last episode. And then my family invaded, so we haven't talked about WitcherCon. So this is San Diego Comic-Con and WitcherCon news, and there's not a lot of it.
Nope.
And I'm also going to talk about release dates because I've been making a list and checking it twice.
December 8th. Am I right?
What?
Witcher comes out.
Oh, well, I don't have that particular note open right now. It's
either December 8th or maybe the 12th. Maybe 13th. Somewhere within that 5 to 10 business days.
So if I pull up my list, so this is the playlist. It's San Diego Comic-Con 2021 videos and the video for WitcherCon, which they were all posted to YouTube. And I'm pulling all that up, and here's what we got. I mean, look, the number one highlight of Comic-Con for me this year, again, there's no Game of Thrones stuff, because I just love these people so much. The Pop Culture Hero Coalition. Love these guys. So it's Star Trek's Chase Masterson with a panel of guests, including friend of the show and multiple-time guest Dr. Janina Scarlett. Mm-hmm. We plug her all the time because we love her so much.
She's great.
And the pandemic might be almost over. Maybe we can see her again sometime. I don't know. So they've done panels before. And they even have the occasional celebrity guest, including someone that I would love to be a friend of the show, Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers, a show that I love. This year they added an extra special guest. Mm-hmm. Jamila Jamil.
Yay.
Who I adore.
She's a wonderful woman.
She really is. She's so cool. I mean, I follow her on Twitter. Her Instagram's really good too. She's funny. She's just a funny, nutty person, but also talks a lot about mental health issues and body image stuff. She's really just super.
She's an advocate.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. A huge advocate for paying attention to these things and people should feel good about themselves. Right. Mm-hmm. Big mental health advocate. And she came on this panel and told some of her story, which was
good.
It was fascinating, sad,
yeah.
Shocking, maybe even considering what we see on TV. She's been through some shit.
Yeah. Don't spoil it.
Not going to spoil it. I promise. So there was that panel. I posted a link to TV Guide magazine had just a chit chat panel with I want to say 12 maybe different people from different TV shows and stuff, including the highlight for me was Shawn Ashmore, who is on The Rookie, which is a show that we follow. We don't talk about it here, but we love Nathan Fillion. We talked about that before. Mm-hmm. And he's also on The Boys, played Lamplighter.
Yes.
So that's cool. Nice to see him. That was the closest we got to any of The Boys content. And season 3's coming, man. I mean, what the fuck? Anyway, there was a very strange panel about The Mandalorian, and the only panel about The Mandalorian, the show that lit the world on fire.
Yeah.
One panel.
Bunch of lawyers.
Bunch of lawyers and judges talking about The Mandalorian.
Weird.
Just fascinating. There was a Fear the Walking Dead panel, a Walking Dead panel, to which I'll come back to release dates, but Walking Dead, if you're still following that, last season's coming soon. One of the more informative panels that we watched was about Lord of the Rings. So I do have a couple notes on that because it's kind of cool. So we haven't talked about Lord of the Rings on this show before because it's a bunch of movies and books. Well, books, then movies. But it's all stuff that you've already seen. Most likely, I mean, if you're listening to us, you've probably seen the Lord of the Rings movies. We might have mentioned once or twice that Amazon signed a contract to make a show based on the Lord of the Rings universe. Paid like, what, $2 billion or something like that for the rights? Something like that. Just a crazy amount of money just to get the option to do the show. And from what they said, they also lose the rights if they don't put out a show by October of 2022.
Nice.
Yeah. So COVID probably wasn't good for that. To which end this panel was saying that like the people creating this show were like in New Zealand getting ready to film stuff when COVID hit and they hadn't quite started production. And then a lot of them just stayed there to keep frantically working.
Yeah, they kind of like took a vote. Do you want to stay or leave? And they stayed.
And the cool thing is, if you were going to have to be stuck somewhere during COVID, New Zealand was the fucking place to do it. They did it right, better than any other country. The prime minister was like, put on masks, you fucktards. And everyone put on masks and they beat COVID pretty much.
Yay.
The only country to really do it that way. That well.
Is that right?
So that show has, has been filmed. They are currently doing reshoots. So it's not done yet. But it's almost done. It's almost done being filmed. So we should expect to see that in spring or summer of 2022. But that's pretty cool. They also mentioned that there's going to be there's a new book coming out that's previously unreleased writings by J.R.R. Tolkien. They were talking about that quite a bit. And then there's a documentary or two about the Tolkien family. So that's stuff you might be interested in. But there's more TV content coming. There's options for a spinoff of Lord of the Rings already, but they have another thing in the works. It's going to be an animated, I forgot if it's a movie or a series, but it's going to be an animated piece called War of the Rohirrim, which are do you know who that is? The Rohirrim?
It's probably better that you explain.
All right, fine. I want to give you a chance to nerd out.
No, I'm good. I'm having fun listening to you.
The Rohirrim were the horse-mounted cavalry cool dudes from the from the Two Towers is where we met them, right? So you had Eomer, he was the sort of half-exiled dude that was leading his own little band, but the Rohirrim were the horse lords. They were the guys that came and helped save the day. Actually did save the day at the Battle of Helm's Deep in the movies.
I remember them charging in.
Yep, they charged in at the end. So it's about those guys, but 200 years before The Hobbit, it's going to be a tale about an old king of Rohan named Helm Hammerhand. Mm-hmm. And apparently, based on the Tolkien lore that exists, it's going to be pretty dark. Maybe not a super happy ending.
They said it's like Game of Thrones.
Darker like Game of Thrones, but animated.
Right, and they said minus the brothels.
Yeah, I don't think Tolkien didn't really do sex, I don't think.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
He was a very Christian dude. He was into fantasy.
I mean, they actually have sex.
Well, but I don't think he writes about it.
Okay.
Does he? I mean, not that I know of.
Not that I know of.
I mean, I haven't.
I'm just saying he could. Just because you're Christian doesn't mean you.
There's a lot of Tolkien I haven't read, but the stuff I have read, no sex.
Okay.
Romance, affection, but no sex.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a thing that's coming too. Don't have a release date. That just got announced, so it's probably a long ways off. But there's a lot of Lord of the Rings content in the works. Way to go, Amazon Prime. Flawed of a company that Amazon is. Amazon Prime is making some good original stuff, including The Boys, which we got into late because that's what we do. That's kind of our signature move. And it's amazing. And we will be talking about that show soon to catch up in time for whenever season 3 comes out. Let's see. What else was on the Comic-Con playlist? There's a Robert Kirkman panel, the guy who invented The Walking Dead. And I can't watch it.
Why?
Because he's going to be talking about Invincible. And I don't want spoilers for Invincible. We got to watch that someday. That's on Amazon Prime too.
Okay.
We got to watch that. Everyone says it's amazing.
All the time we're like, what should we watch? I don't know.
Well, tell me to refer to my list because I have this all written down. I just keep forgetting
Just refer
about
to your list.
Well, tell me next time.
I just did.
All right. I bookmarked a Rick and Morty thing. Not much or any Rick and Morty content, but what caught my eye was Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, where there is a D&D module that was gifted to me. I believe that was who was that gave that to me?
That was me.
That was you. Okay. That was gifted to me by someone in this room. And during COVID, we tried to play it over Zoom with some friends.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great D&D adventure. I mean, I did my best to get into it, to run it for you guys. And we had varying levels of experience with D&D playing with us. But when it kind of fizzled out because a couple of the lesser experienced players didn't really want to do it anymore, like weren't that interested after all, I was kind of okay with that because even though I wanted to play a role-playing game, this was not the one. I just, it wasn't great.
It was a little, I was kind of a letdown.
It wasn't very Dungeons and Dragons-y.
Nope.
Hey, I hear someone coughing. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, we're back. The distant coughing noise was your kids coming home, spending some time with Shorty. Now, Sophie's the dog of Thrones. We need something good for Shorty.
Short finger.
What would be a good nickname somehow related to something we cover for Shorty the dog? If anyone has any submissions, reach out to us. You can always find me, Jeff, at potofthrones.com or at potofthrones on Twitter.
Or I'm at Kid Free Weekend on Twitter or Jennifer at potofthrones.com.
Yeah. What should we name our new dog? So when we left, we were talking.
We could name him Podrick.
Well, wait. But there's nothing about dog in there.
Podogrick.
Podogrick?
Podogrick.
Perhaps.
Podogrick.
When last we left, we were finishing talking about our YouTube playlist from Comic-Con stuff. And the last thing I wanted to mention was a panel that is very good and really interesting and insightful. It's from Geek Ed, educational related.
That was my favorite
material. And it's called The True American Horror of Lovecraft Country. Now, we did do episode by episode breakdowns of that show, and we learned a lot while doing it.
It was good, yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we're also white. These people have a different perspective.
None of them were white.
So take a look at that one. That
was interesting.
After the pop culture hero coalition one, that was probably my other favorite video.
Out of Comic-Con.
Out of Comic-Con, yes. And then there was one other video.
The other.
WitcherCon. So
2021.
WitcherCon, of course, was not part of San Diego Comic-Con. It was its own thing, and it wasn't really a convention at all. It was just a 2.5 hour long video from Netflix with multiple segments. So we'll link to that too. Of course, if you're into The Witcher, you should be watching it. But
yeah, you should.
Just a couple things to know. They did talk about the release date for The Witcher, which of course is in a completely different note because I'm a poop face. Do you remember what the date was? Oh, you said it earlier. It was December something.
I thought it was December 8th, but then I was like, maybe it's the 11th or 12th or 13th.
So close on all counts. They did announce officially The Witcher Season 2 will be premiering on December 17th, 2021.
I was close.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, it feels like a long ways off, but not really. Not the way time's been going since
No, it's
COVID.
just a few months.
Yeah.
It'll fly by.
Mm-hmm. So they talked about how that's coming. They showed a, like the sort of the first look trailer. There was a video showing sort of a look inside Kaer Morhen, which is the home of the Witchers. It's their little fortress city. You and I each spent a little bit of time playing The Witcher 3. Classic, what people will say is like one of the greatest role-playing games ever made. You didn't much care for it.
It was just too slow for me. I need a little more like action and less I don't know. It's quiet.
A lot of cutscenes.
A lot of cutscenes. I like more interaction, I think. And I don't like the third person view.
Yeah, I don't love the third person view. I'll give you that. I don't mind the cutscenes and stuff. I mean,
If
they're
they
really
were,
interesting storylines.
Shorter.
You didn't get very far into the main storyline either. I got a little bit further than you, and then I just get distracted because that's what I do. But I really like the game. The controls for me were a little bit of a harder adjustment compared to games I'm used to. But anyway, if you play just the introduction to that game, you get a glimpse inside Kaer Morhen there before the game takes you through, like, I guess, was it flashback content? I don't remember now. But anyway, you get to look inside Kaer Morhen. It's their fortress. It's where Witchers train and stuff. So he's going to go back there this season. And that involves Ciri, of course. And I don't want to say any more than that based off of what I know.
This was worth watching.
Yeah, it was worth watching for sure. We got to meet one of the actors who's playing one of the Witchers. We know Vesemir is going to be a big player this season, who, again, we know from the video games was like Geralt's like mentor, like, you know, one of his great mentors.
Except we see him young, or was that in something else?
That was something else.
Okay.
In the video game, he's old, and I'm sure in this series he's going to be old too.
Yeah.
They also announced, God dang it, I feel like I want to sneeze again. So there was some video game talk. They did announce CD Projekt Red, the people that make the Witcher games. They announced that they are making a big game update for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt that will be only available for next-gen consoles. So I think that means some graphical updates to the game engine, which means it'll be even prettier than it is now. But they also said they're going to be adding a DLC, a new quest line or whatever, a new storyline based on the Netflix series. So I don't know if that means Geralt will suddenly change to look like Henry Cavill, or we'll just take some storylines as they were in the show. I don't know. We'll see. And I should say, I've gone through, I've got just a smidge left. I just haven't gotten around to finishing. But the first book in the Witcher series is basically season 1 of the show, but without the way the timeline comes together.
Yes.
Sorry, one more kid interruption there. What was I saying?
Geralt.
The book. The books don't have the same sort of central storyline, the way everything sort of ties together, but each episode, right, I think every episode from season 1 has a story that was in the first book, just sort of for different reasons with slight changes. I want to do a book report episode about that someday. But yeah, I don't know where this Netflix based DLC is going to go for The Witcher 3, but I feel like we're going to have to check it out. Of course,
I agree, yes.
In order to check it out, we'll have to get one of the new Xboxes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculously expensive.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
It's also impossible to get, so we got some time.
I could have got one from Target.
They had them in stock?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
You just saw one sitting there on the shelf?
No, online.
Oh. Well, we'll get one soon-ish. And then they also talked about The Witcher Monster Slayer. Now, I have downloaded this game to my phone. And I thought you and I were going to go for a walk and play it. But I don't think you've downloaded it yet to your phone.
No, but I will.
But it is a Witcher-inspired or Witcher-themed mobile game that requires you to walk around the world. We have
Pokemon Go for Witcher.
Right, yeah. I mean, you and I used to play a lot of Ingress. Ingress is not as well known. It's not a household name like Pokemon Go is. But yes, it's like Pokemon Go, except instead of capturing the monsters, I think you're slaughtering them.
Pokemon Go was based off of Ingress, so it's pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they used similar stuff, but this is made by a different company. So who knows? I mean, there could be significant differences in how the games play. But it is still that kind of, it's GPS based, and also it uses augmented reality. So like your camera, like you'll move your phone around and it'll use your camera to see the real world in front of you while it makes like monsters appear, and then you fight them on the screen and the kids are back. This is why we usually record when they're not around, but you know, dog slowed us down. Anyway, so that's out now. So I haven't tried playing it yet, and you and I should try playing it soon. But I just want to say again, If you are playing it and you're listening to this now, tell us a little bit about it. Or is there a way that we can connect in game? Reach out to us again. You know how to find us. Let us know because that'd be kind of fun. Was there anything else from WitcherCon? When they were talking about the upcoming season, there was one new actor whose name I didn't write down who's playing one of the Witchers, but then they also had Anya Chalotra and Freya Allen there on set. And it was cool seeing them.
It was.
The last time I saw them, I don't think you were there for that panel. I think you were doing an Impractical Jokers thing, but it was at Comic-Con, I guess, 3 years ago before the show came out. Wow.
Were they tiny?
Boy, that takes me back. Well, Anya is a full-grown adult, so she hasn't really changed, but Freya Allen playing Ciri, she's changed a lot in 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be maybe kind of strange for season 2 of the show, because she does not quite look like the same person. Maybe with makeup and wigs.
Show. She does in the show.
Yeah, maybe.
She looks older, which she is. So.
Well, she is older, but I feel the show's like probably a day has passed.
She was wearing a lot of makeup.
In the show?
In the panel.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. She just seemed she was very childlike when she was up on stage at a physical Comic-Con 3 years ago. And now she's not childlike anymore.
Right.
So I don't know if that will change the dynamic of the show, but with makeup and wigs and stuff, probably not, I guess. But it's going to be cool. I'm really looking forward to that. So the WitcherCon video itself, 2.5 hours long. Dive in. There's all sorts of Witcher content. If you play Gwent, they talk about Gwent. We don't play Gwent. But they talk about the video games, the show. Oh, we didn't talk about the movie. That there was a little bit more there. So there's 2 more projects in the work for Netflix. They've already begun writing season 3. So that's gonna happen, even though season 2 is not out yet. They talk about a new show called Blood Origin. That's going to be a live action prequel. They've just started filming it, I think in Finland or Iceland or something. What is of note for me is that Michelle Yeoh is going to be one of the stars. I love her very, very much. She's I'm sure you know her from something. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was the main female adult character in that movie, but she became famous at first for being the only other person, or only female, I think, that Jackie Chan would ever work with that was also allowed to do her own stunts. She is kind of a badass.
Cool.
And then there was also The Witcher. Jesus, what was it called? Nightmare of the Wolf. We saw the preview for that.
Nightmare of the Wolf.
So that's coming to Netflix August 23rd. It is a movie, about an hour and a half long. And it's a story of a younger Vesemir. So it has nothing to do with Geralt. But it does have something to do with some demon lady with humongous labia.
Yeah. She does. Yes.
So looking forward to that. If you haven't watched the trailer for that yet, go to Netflix, Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf. The trailer, I mean, it looks really good show, but there was this one part I had to rewind and was like, are those labia? Because
she's like a Hagraven, kind of.
It's like it's some kind of monster that Vesemir's got to kill, I'm sure, but boy, those
big labia monster.
Never seen labia like that. Okay, so all that said, that brought me over to my note to look up when Nightmare of the Wolf was coming out, which is August 23rd. And I've been Googling and Googling and Googling all the time, taking notes on all these different shows that we have either expressed interest in, or we've been watching, we've been talking about on the show, or maybe we haven't been. But there's lots of shows that are sort of in our wheelhouse. And here's the updates I have. Starting at the top of this list, we know Game of Thrones still out there, but we don't know when it's coming. The Boys, that was a show that we really do want to cover. We don't know when season 3 is coming out, but there is something that we need to check out that I just learned about, and we haven't seen it yet. But somewhere, I guess on Amazon Prime, we have to find something called 7 on 7. It's from Vought News Network, Vought being the corporation from The Boys, and it's already out, and it's just short little segments of content that's supposed to help sate our appetite for The Boys until season 3 comes out.
Okay.
So we need to check that out. That's already on Amazon Prime. Maybe we'll have a report on that before too long. Let's see. I was looking up The Mandalorian. They're saying late 2021 for season 3 of that.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's
or
coming.
early 2022. Not sure. But the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian spin-off series, is slated for December 2021.
Okay.
Stranger Things, late 2021 or early 2022, so nothing firm yet. Cobra Kai, season 4, late 2021. They've already got that going. The final season of The Walking Dead is coming this August 22nd. So we're recording this August 1st, so we don't have much time before that happens.
That was a decent panel.
Yeah. I mean, if you like The Walking Dead, it was a good panel.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, all casual.
Oh, God, he's
funny.
Hot old
What?
dude.
He's what?
He's a hot old dude.
Hot old dude. Okay.
I'd do him.
Yeah. He's
hot,
I hate to say it.
He's rugged.
I hate to say it because I don't want any competition, but he's probably good in bed.
Yeah.
You get the feeling.
You think?
Like he's cool and confident.
Oh, yeah.
And he seems like a nice guy. Let's see. Umbrella Academy. We haven't covered it here on the show. Maybe we will someday, but that's a long ways off. Maybe 2022. Like with nothing concrete at all. Upload, that was a show that we watched that we liked. Maybe late 2022. Okay, here we go. Lord of the Rings, late 2021. That's going to finally start coming out, most likely. We recently watched Loki, but then the next Disney series, What If, is coming August 11th. That's an animated series, which just is side stories from the Marvel Universe based on very strange questions. What if this happened? What if that happened? So it's sort of alternate universe stuff. It should be either very strange, very funny, maybe both. And then also in the Marvel TV universe, Hawkeye is coming November 24th.
Hawkeye.
His own series, which people don't like the Hawkeye character.
Yeah.
But I think this one's going to be funny. And also...
Is it going to be... What's his name?
Yeah, Jeremy Renner.
Yay.
But he's passing the torch to... I forget the character's name. I know she's from the comics. But he's passing the torch, but the person playing that girl is... I forgot her name too. But she was from the Pitch Perfect movies. She played the youngest of the... Anyway, it should be funny, is what I'm saying. But also, it ties in with the Black Widow movie. If you've seen that, the after credit scene sort of leads us directly into the Hawkeye series. So again, Marvel's just weaving all this shit together sort of expertly. No news on Westworld, except they had to stop filming recently due to a COVID outbreak. And then the other one, two other things I feel are worth mentioning. Amazon is doing a series called The Wheel of Time, which is another epic fantasy series based off a series of books by, I believe, Robert Jordan, I want to say. I'm not familiar with the books. I know a lot of people love them. Maybe we could check with Lore Master Kevin. Maybe he knows. But it could be a really interesting series, worth at least checking out. And then the last thing is Dune. The new Dune, coming October 22nd. So that's not very far off either. Have you seen the old Dune movie or read the book?
Yes.
Have you read the book?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
You're such a nerd.
I was young and it was a long time ago.
It's a long ass book too.
Yes. It was very fat.
I did read or probably listen to the book quite a few years ago after really trying hard to figure out the movie. I've seen the movie a few times. And it's parts of it kind of make sense, and parts of it are like, what are they even talking about? And the book has all that detail that the movie didn't have time for. It's a good book. I definitely enjoyed it. But the movie is so reviled over such a long period of time that now we're finally getting something new. All I know is that it's got Timothée Chalamet in it. I guess he's a cool, trendy dude.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
But it won't have Sting in his underwear.
Well, that's all right. I could go without. I just didn't get that.
But you remember.
I remember very thin Sting in his underwear.
I pulled up the picture of that when we were talking about The Watchmen.
That's right.
Because Dr. Manhattan in his underwear looked just like that.
That's right.
Same underwears.
You should be that for Halloween. Sting or Dr. Manhattan, one of the two.
in just blue underwear. You think I'm ready for that?
Sure.
I better diet hard.
Dr. Manhattan can look like anybody.
That's true. So I can't be Sting. But I could be Dr. Manhattan and just be like, look,
Jeff.
I felt like being fat. It is what I wanted.
Oh, you're looking good.
Thanks.
You are.
They do that frog pose for me again. That looked good.
Okay.
No, not right. Okay, fine. Anyway, I guess that's it. For the second year in a row, Comic-Con just didn't have a whole lot going on, and I'm really hoping that we get a real Comic-Con next year.
Worse this year than last, I think.
Do you remember? I think you said it, and then our friend and at least one-time guest on the show, Amanda Blaine, said it during the last Comic-Con of like, I think I need to take a break from Comic-Con.
Well, there we go.
And look at that. I think she caused COVID by saying that.
She jinxed everybody. Yeah. She jinxed the entire world.
Yep. Half a million Americans dead. I mean,
wow,
she's
that's
Canadian, but whatever.
It's a lot to take on.
But look, Amanda and Jennifer, you guys got your break from Comic-Con, so I think it's time to go back as soon as they let us.
I agree with that. Sort of.
Maybe we could do a panel. You want to do a panel?
Maybe. I don't. Just let's not stress out about it right now.
Okay. Well, that's it for now. That's the Comic-Con and WitcherCon report as much as that's even possible. So there you go.
Got some content.
Thanks for joining us, people. We will be back. What are we going to be back with next?
I don't know.
We could do a Loki episode. Maybe we can get Eddie Pence back on. But
Loki would be fun.
We did dip a toe into Amazon's show, The Underground Railroad, which was suggested by a listener.
Oh, yeah. That's been really good.
And it's a pretty fascinating show.
Mm-hmm. It's been great.
Boy, it's dark.
Well, it's realistic.
Yeah. Kind of grim. But we'll see where that show goes. We don't know yet. But
except, right. We might be getting to the unrealistic part. Not sure. We've only 2 or 3 episodes in.
The fact that there's an actual Underground Railroad, spoilers. It's not Harriet Tubman. It's an actual train that's underground. So that part right there means that this show's going to go off in some kind of weird directions. Maybe. So we have that to look forward to. So maybe we'll do an episode or 2 on that sometime in the near future. We could talk about Marvel stuff because that's all coming up. But there's shows that are about ready to come out, and that Nightmare of the Wolf movie is coming out really soon. So Nightmare of the Wolf. So we'll be talking about those things. So stay tuned. If you are somehow new here and you just stumbled into the show, hit subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us. And Comic-Con 2021. Comic-Con. Pickle Rick. Bring back Game of Thrones content. Pickle Rick? Yeah. All right.
That's what we should name him, Pickle Rick.